You've never been touched, he whispered, his thumb tracing my trembling lip. Let me be your first, your last, your only. I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. Now I'm zip-tied to a chair, blood trickling from my temple, while men with dead eyes circle me like wolves. Where's Aaron Ward? The one with the scar snarls, pressing his gun against my skull. I don't know whether to scream or laugh. Aaron, my gentle museum stranger who spoke about light and darkness, is apparently the most dangerous man in this city. The door explodes. He stands there, weapon drawn, eyes black as sin. Not the man I knew, something far more terrifying. Before we begin Sophie's story of dangerous love and deadly secrets, hit subscribe and stay until the end. Comment your city below, so I can see how far this journey reaches. The gun was cold against my ribs. I'd never felt anything like it, that specific pressure of metal on bone, the promise of violence barely restrained. The man holding it smiled at me through the library stacks, gold tooth glinting under fluorescent lights. Aaron Ward, he said softly. Where is he? My mouth went dry. I don't know who that is. Lying is dangerous, pretty girl. He pressed harder. Try again. She said she doesn't know. The voice came from behind him. Aaron's voice, but colder than I'd ever heard it. And you just made a fatal mistake. What happened next took 3 seconds. Aaron's hand shot out, twisted the gun away, and slammed the man face first into the bookshelf. Hardbacks rained down. The man crumpled. Aaron turned to me, and I saw it, the thing he'd been hiding behind museum visits and gentle touches. A killer's eyes. We need to run, he said, right now. And 3 weeks earlier, I first saw Aaron Ward on a Tuesday standing in front of the Caravaggio like he was waiting for it to speak. Dark suit, darker expression, hands clasped behind his back with military precision. Something about the set of his shoulders, rigid, controlled, made me think of barely leashed violence. I should have looked away. I didn't. That's the 3rd time this week he's been here, Ruby whispered beside me, following my gaze. And you've been watching him every single time. I'm not. Sophie Blake, you are staring at that man like he's the last book on earth, and you're desperate to read him. Heat flooded my cheeks. He's just interesting. He's dangerous. Look at him. Really look. Ruby leaned closer. That's not a man who appreciates art. That's a man who's hiding from something. She was right. I could see it now, the way his eyes constantly scanned the room, cataloging exits. The bulge under his left arm that might have been a phone, but probably wasn't. The coiled tension in every muscle. I should have walked away. Instead, I stood up. Sophie, what are you? But I was already crossing the cafe, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. He saw me coming, of course he did. A man like that missed nothing, and something flickered in his expression. Surprise, maybe, or warning. You come here every day, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Same painting, same spot. Why? His eyes locked onto mine. They were so dark, they were almost black, and looking into them felt like falling. Are you following me? You're in a public museum. That's not an answer. Neither was yours. I crossed my arms, refusing to back down, even though every instinct screamed at me to run. The calling of St. Matthew. Why this one? For a long moment, he just stared at me. Then the light. What about it? It comes from outside the frame, from a source we can't see, but it illuminates everything that matters. His gaze never left mine. Sometimes darkness is all we know, until someone shows us where to look. The words hit me like a physical thing, raw and real and achingly honest. Aaron Ward, he said, extending his hand. I took it. His palm was rough, scarred in ways that office work couldn't explain. Sophie Blake. Sophie. He said my name like he was testing it, tasting it. Let me buy you coffee. Ruby was gonna kill me. I said yes anyway. We didn't talk about normal things. Aaron didn't ask where I went to college or what my favorite movie was. Instead, he asked questions that cut straight to bone. What are you running from? He said, stirring sugar into espresso. I blinked. Excuse me. Everyone who haunts museums during lunch breaks is running from something, usually their own life. He leaned back, studying me. You're here every day, alone, always alone. Why? Maybe I like art. Maybe, or maybe you like disappearing into other people's stories because your own feels too small. I should have been offended. Instead, I felt seen in a way I'd never experienced before. What about you? What are you running from? His expression shuddered. Everything. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting today. He paused. Tomorrow, ask me again. Why would there be a tomorrow? Because you're curious. Because I'm curious. Because we're both tired of being alone. He stood, dropped cash on the table, too much cash, I noticed. Same time tomorrow, if you want. He left before I could respond, moving through the crowd with the fluid grace of a predator. I watched him go, my coffee going cold in my hands. Please tell me you got his number, Ruby said, materializing beside me. He didn't ask for mine. Red flag. Or old-fashioned. Sophie. Ruby grabbed my shoulders, made me look at her. That man is capital D. Dangerous. I'm talking witness protection, fake identity bodies in the basement. Dangerous. You're being dramatic. Am I? Did you see how he moved? How he watched the room? She shook her head. Whatever he is, he's not a normal guy who likes art. Promise me you'll be careful. I promised. I lied. Oh. Aaron was there the next day. And the next. And the next. We fell into a pattern meet at noon stand before a different painting, talk about everything and nothing. He told me he'd traveled extensively, spoke 4 languages, had seen things that changed him. I told him about growing up invisible, about loving books because characters couldn't leave you, about working in a library because it felt safe. Safe is overrated, he said one afternoon. We were in the sculpture garden, autumn sun warm on our faces. Says the man who carries a gun. His whole body went still. How did you? I'm observant, left shoulder holster. You adjust it when you think no one's watching. I turned to face him. So what are you, FBI, bodyguard, and private security? None of those things. Then what? Someone who made bad choices and is trying to make better ones. His hand lifted, hesitated, then cupped my cheek with devastating gentleness. You've never been touched, have you? My breath caught. What kind of question? I can tell. The way you flinch when people get too close. The way you hold yourself like you're afraid to take up space. His thumb brushed my lower lip and electricity shot through me. No one's ever really seen you, Sophie Blake. Not until now. Tears burned my eyes because he was right. God, he was so brutally, perfectly right. I see you, he whispered, and if you let me, I'll be your first. His other hand joined the first, cradling my face like I was something precious. And your last, your only. I'll touch you like you matter because you do, more than you know. Aaron, his phone rang. Not vibrated, rang sharp and insistent. He glanced at the phone screen and every ounce of warmth drained from his face. I have to go. Wait, I'm sorry. He was already backing away. Tomorrow, I'll explain tomorrow. But tomorrow he didn't show up. Or the day after. Or the day after that. You say, by day 5, I'd convinced myself I'd imagined the whole thing. That Aaron Ward was just another stranger who drifted through my life and out again, leaving nothing but questions. Then I saw the man with the snake tattoo. He was in the library's reference section, watching me between the stacks. Young, hard-eyed, with ink crawling up his neck like it was trying to strangle him. When our eyes met, he smiled slow and cruel. Can I help you find something? I asked, proud that my voice didn't shake. Already found it. He walked away without checking out a book. I saw him again the next day, and the next. You need to call the police, Ruby insisted when I told her. We were in her apartment, wine open, my hands trembling. And tell them what a man exists in my general vicinity. A man is stalking you, Soph. That's literally a crime. But I didn't call the police. Instead, I called Aaron. Straight to voicemail. Again. Then the note appeared. It was tucked inside a book I just shelved, a slim piece of paper with 5 words in block capitals. Stay away from Aaron Ward. My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped it. The second note came that night, slipped under my apartment door. He's not who you think. I tried Aaron's number again. Nothing. That's it, Ruby said when I showed her. We're going to the police right now. No. Sophie, I need to find him first. I need to know what's happening. Why? So you can get yourself killed, because that's where this is heading. Maybe she was right. Probably she was right. I started searching anyway. Aaron Ward was a ghost online. No social media, no business listings, No digital footprint whatsoever. Like he'd been erased or had never existed at all. Normal people exist online, Ruby said, looking over my shoulder at the empty search results. This is not normal. I know, we saw Then why aren't you running? Good question. Why wasn't I running? Because when Aaron touched my face, I felt alive for the first time in my life. Because he saw me, really saw me, and I wasn't ready to let that go. Because some part of me recognized something in him, something broken and desperate and fighting to be better. Because I was already falling in love with him. 2 weeks after Aaron disappeared, a black car pulled up as I locked the library. The window rolled down. There he was, exhausted, dangerous, desperate. Get in, he said. Are you insane? You vanished for 2 weeks. Someone's threatening me, and you think I'll just, Sophie, please. His voice cracked. Right now, you're in danger, real danger, and I'm the only one who can protect you. So get in this car, or I swear to God, I will throw you over my shoulder and put you in myself. Something in his eyes, pure terror mixed with steel determination, made me believe him. I got in. We drove in silence for 10 minutes. Aaron's knuckles were white on the steering wheel, his jaw clenched so tight I thought it might crack. Where are we going? I finally asked. Somewhere they can't find you. They who? The Castellano family. The name meant nothing to me, but the way he said it like a curse made my blood run cold. He pulled into an underground parking garage, killed the engine, and turned to face me. In the dim light, I could see fresh bruises on his knuckles, a cut above his eye. What happened to you? I reached for his face. He caught my wrist, gently but firmly. I need to tell you something, and when I'm done, you're going to want to run, and I won't stop you. Aaron. My name is Aaron Ward. That part's true, but I wasn't always a consultant. He took a shaking breath. 5 years ago, I was a hitman for the Castellano crime family. One of their best. I killed people for money, Sophie. I was good at it. The car suddenly felt too small, the air too thin. The man following you, his name is Marco Rinaldi. He works for Vincent Castellano. They know about you, they know about us, and they're going to use you to force me back into the life I left. This isn't real. I was shaking. This can't be real. The notes you got, that was them warning you, warning us both. Aaron's voice was hollow. There's a war coming, Castellanos versus the Russians, and Vincent wants his best weapon back. He wants me. I reached for the door handle. Wait, let me out. Sophie, please. You lied to me. Everything was a lie. I yanked the handle, shoved the door open. Aaron caught my arm. Not everything. What I feel for you, that's real. The way I see you, the way you make me want to be better, that's all real. How can I believe anything you say? Tears poured down my face. You're a killer. Was. Past tense. He let go of my arm. But yeah, I was. And I can't take that back. Can't erase it. All I can do is try to be someone different. Someone worthy of the way you looked at me in that sculpture garden. A car door slammed somewhere in the garage. Aaron's entire body went rigid. In one fluid motion, he pushed me behind him and pulled a gun from beneath his jacket. Stay behind me, he whispered. Footsteps echoed off concrete. Multiple people. Aaron Ward. The voice was smooth, cultured, terrifying. You've been avoiding my calls. 3 men emerged from the shadows. The leader was older, silver-haired, expensive suit tailored to perfection. The 2 flanking him were younger, harder hands resting on visible weapons. Pure menace in designer shoes. Vincent, Aaron said flatly, this isn't necessary. Isn't it? Vincent's smile was a blade. You ignore my messages, refuse my requests, spend your time with, his eyes slid to me. Pretty little librarians instead of preparing for what's coming. I told you 5 years ago, I'm done. No one is ever done with this family, Aaron. You know that. Vincent took a step closer. But I'm a reasonable man. Do one job for me, just one, and I'll forget about your girlfriend here. You can both walk away clean. What's the job? The Russians have a shipment arriving Friday. Weapons, drugs, enough firepower to tip the balance of power in this city. I need it gone. And I need the Volkov brothers to understand what happens when they move in on Castellano territory. You mean you need me to kill them? Vincent shrugged. Details. And if I refuse, then Miss Blake becomes very interesting to me. Vincent's smile widened. Marco has developed quite a fascination with her. I wonder how long she'd last with him before she broke. A week. Days, hours. Aaron raised his gun, pointing it directly at Vincent's forehead. Touch her and I'll kill everyone you've ever loved, starting with you. Vincent didn't even blink. Empty threats from a man who ran away because he couldn't stomach the work anymore. You're soft now, Aaron. That's why you left, isn't it? Lost your edge. Lost your nerve. Try me. Time stopped. 4 men, 3 guns I could see. God knows how many hidden. Me pressed against Aaron's back, feeling his heartbeat thundering through his jacket. Then Vincent laughed, a sound like breaking glass. 48 hours, Aaron. After that, I stopped being nice. He turned to leave, paused. Oh, and your librarian. She's exquisite. It really would be a tragedy if something happened to that pretty face. They disappeared into the shadows. Aaron didn't lower his gun until their engine sounds faded completely. When he finally turned to me, I saw something I'd never seen before in his eyes. Absolute terror. I'm sorry, he whispered. God, Sophie, I'm so sorry. I never should have talked to you. Never should have. What are you going to do? Get you somewhere safe, then bow. No. The word came out stronger than I felt. What are we going to do? There is no we, not anymore. I'll disappear you somewhere they can't find. I'm not leaving you. Sophie, you said you'd be my first and last. I stepped closer, forced him to look at me. Did you mean it? Pain flashed across his face. That was before you knew what I was. Did you mean it? Yes. His voice broke. God help me, yes. More than I've ever meant anything. I reached up, cupped his face the way he cupped mine that day in the garden. Then we fight together. Or we die together. But I'm not leaving. You don't understand what you're saying. These people don't just kill you, they destroy you. Everything you are, everyone you love, they make you watch. Then we don't let them. Aaron pulled me against him so hard I couldn't breathe. His whole body was shaking. I can't lose you, he whispered into my hair. I only just found you. You won't. We were both lying. We both knew it. But for that moment in that parking garage with death circling outside, we held each other like we could change the ending through sheer force of will. His phone buzzed. Aaron pulled it out, looked at the screen, and went absolutely white. What is it? Wordlessly, he turned it to face me. A photo. Ruby, sitting in her favorite coffee shop, completely unaware she was being photographed. The caption, beautiful day, hope nothing ruins it. My legs nearly gave out. Call her, Inamo. Aaron said, his voice deadly calm. Tell her to go to her parents. Right now, don't explain, just tell her to run. My hands shook so badly I could barely dial. Soph, where have you been? I've been calling. Ruby. I fought to keep my voice steady. You need to leave the city. Right now. Go to your parents' house upstate, pack a bag, and go. Silence, then. This is about him, isn't it? About Aaron. Please, just trust me. Just this once. Sophie, what have you gotten yourself into? I'll explain later. Please, Ruby, please. Another pause. I'm leaving now, but Soph, if you die, I'm going to be so pissed at you. Despite everything, I almost laughed. Deal. After I hung up, Aaron pulled me back into his arms. You did good. She's in danger because of me. She's alive because you warned her. He pulled back, looked into my eyes. I'm going to fix this, Sophie. I'm going to find a way out that doesn't end with you dead or running forever. How? His jaw set. I don't know yet, but I will. I promise you that. Tuag. The safe house was a studio apartment in a neighborhood I'd never seen before. One room, reinforced door bars on the windows. Aaron locked us in 3 deadbolts, one chain of bar across the door. You've had this place for 5 years, I asked, since the day I left the family, just in case. He moved through the space, checking windows, clearing corners. Still in tactical mode. Aaron, stop. He froze. Come here. Sophie, that's not a good idea. I don't care. Come here anyway. He crossed the room slowly, like approaching a wild animal. What are you? I grabbed his jacket, pulled him down, and kissed him. For one shocked second, he didn't move. Then he kissed me back, desperate and rough and absolutely devastating. His hands tangled in my hair. His body pressed against mine like he was trying to fuse us together. When we finally broke apart, both gasping, his forehead rested against mine. "I don't deserve you," he whispered. "I don't care. I've killed people. I know. I'll probably have to kill more before this is over. I know that too." His hands cupped my face, thumbs brushing away tears I didn't know I'd shed. "Why aren't you running?" "Because you see me." My voice cracked. "Because you're the first person who ever really looked at me and saw someone worth knowing, worth touching, worth loving. Sophie. And because I think I love you too. Even though it's insane. Even though I barely know you. Even though you're a criminal and I'm a librarian and this whole thing is impossible." I laughed through my tears. "I love you anyway." Aaron made a sound between a laugh and a sob. Then he kissed me again, softer this time, sweeter. Like I was something precious he was afraid to break. "I love you," he whispered against my lips. "I love you, and it's going to get you killed, and I hate myself for it." "Then don't let it." "What? Don't let it get me killed." I pulled back, looked him in the eyes. "You said you were the best. Prove it. Find a way out of this that doesn't end with both of us in graves." Something shifted in his expression, determination replacing despair. "Okay," he said. "Okay, I will. Promise me." "I promise." We fell asleep tangled together on the narrow bed, holding each other like the world was ending. Maybe it was. But that night, Sophie Blake stopped being invisible, and Aaron Ward stopped being alone. Whatever came next, we'd face it together, even if it killed us. Sophie woke to the sound of Aaron's voice, low and tense, coming from the bathroom. The bedside clock read 4:47 a.m. She sat up, her heart already racing, and pressed her ear against the door. "I don't care what Vincent wants," Aaron was saying. "Tell him I need more time." A pause, then, "No, absolutely not. She stays out of this." Another pause, longer this time. "You tell Vincent that if he touches her, if he even looks at her wrong, I'll burn his entire empire to the ground. Every business, every asset, every person he's ever cared about. Tell him I'll make it personal." The call ended. Sophie heard something slam his fist against the wall, probably. She backed away from the door just as it opened. Aaron stood there shirtless, phone still gripped in his white-knuckled hand. When he saw her awake, his expression crumbled. "How much did you hear?" "Enough." Sophie's voice was steadier than she felt. "Who was that Luca? Vincent's second in command. He called to remind me I have 42 hours left." Aaron ran his hand through his hair. "And to let me know they're watching Ruby's parents' house." Sophie's blood turned to ice. "They followed her." "No, they knew where she'd go before we did." He crossed the room, pulled her into his arms. "But she's safe for now. They're just making a point, showing us they can reach anyone." "So what do? We end this. Today." Sophie pulled back to look at him. I'm going to give Vincent exactly what he wants." Aaron's expression was granite hard. "I'm going to take the job." "No. Listen to me. The Russian shipment arrives Friday at midnight. That's tomorrow night. Vincent wants me to intercept it, eliminate the Volkov brothers, send a message." He cupped her face. "So I will. But not the way he expects." "I don't understand. Vincent thinks I'm going to do this his way, clean, professional, no witnesses. But I'm not working for Vincent anymore." His eyes burned into hers. "I'm going to intercept that shipment, yes. But then I'm going to use it as leverage, proof of both families' operations. Enough evidence to bring down the Castellanos and the Volkovs at the same time." Sophie's mind raced. "You're going to the FBI. Not just FBI, DEAATF. Every alphabet agency that wants a piece of organized crime in the city. I'm going to hand them everything, names, locations, financial records, body counts, everything I know from 8 years inside the family. They'll kill you. They'll try." Aaron's smile was sharp as broken glass. "But I was the best they ever had. Remember, I know how they think, how they operate, every safe house, an escape route and backup plan. I can stay ahead of them long enough to make the deal. And then what? Witness protection, new identities. For you, yes. For me," he hesitated, "I'll probably spend time in prison. What I did, who I was, there's no immunity deal big enough to erase that, but you'll be safe. Ruby will be safe. That's all that matters." "No," Sophie grabbed his arms. "No, that's not all that matters. You matter. We matter. Sophie, don't you dare give up on us. Don't you dare sacrifice yourself and call it protection. Tears streamed down her face. Find another way. Find a better way. There isn't one. Then we make one. Together. Like you promised. Before Aaron could respond, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and every muscle in his body went tight. What now? Marco just posted another photo. Aaron turned the screen toward her. It was Sophie's apartment building. Dawn light, a timestamp from 15 minutes ago. Caption, early bird gets the worm. They're at my apartment, Sophie whispered. They're sending a message. They want us to know nowhere is safe. Aaron was already moving, grabbing weapons from a hidden panel in the wall. We need to move, now. Move where? I have another safe house, deeper underground, somewhere even Vincent doesn't know about. He tossed her a burner phone. But first we're going to see an old friend. 20 minutes later, they were in Aaron's car, weaving through early morning traffic. Sophie had never seen him drive like this, aggressive, precise, constantly checking mirrors. A man on the run. Who's this friend, she asked. Her name is Elena Vasquez, former FBI, now private security. She owes me a favor. What kind of favor? The kind where I didn't kill her 5 years ago when Vincent ordered me to. Sophie's stomach lurched. You were supposed to murder an FBI agent. She was getting too close to the family's operations. Vincent wanted her gone. I tracked her for 3 weeks, learned her patterns, planned the hit. Aaron's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. The night I was supposed to do it, I knocked on her door instead. Told her everything. Gave her enough intel to fake her death and disappear into witness protection. Why? Because she had a daughter, 6 years old, same age as the little girl whose mother I couldn't save. He glanced at her. That was the night I decided to get out. Elena was the first person I didn't kill. You're the first person I've let in since. They pulled into an industrial area, all warehouses and chain-link fences. Aaron parked behind an abandoned building and killed the engine. Stay close to me, he said. Elena's jumpy. If she thinks I'm a threat, she'll shoot first and ask questions later. They approached a rusted metal door. Aaron knocked 3 times, paused, knocked twice more. The door swung open. A woman stood there, mid-40s, athletic build, gun pointed directly at Aaron's head. You've got 5 seconds to tell me why I shouldn't pull this trigger. Because I need your help, Elena, and because you still owe me. I don't owe you shit. You pointed a gun at my head for 3 weeks. But I didn't pull the trigger. Aaron held his hands up, non-threatening. And I gave you everything you needed to disappear. Your daughter, she's 13 now, right? Safe in Arizona with your sister. That's because of me. Elena's gun didn't waver. What do you want, Ward? Information, resources, and a clean line to the FBI's Organized Crime Division. You finally ready to testify? Better. I'm ready to hand them both the Castellanos and the Volkovs. Complete organizational charts, financial records, enough bodies to fill a cemetery. Everything they'd need to dismantle both operations in one sweep. Elena's eyes narrowed. In exchange for what? Immunity for her. Aaron gestured to Sophie. Full witness protection, new identity, the works. And for me, the best deal you can negotiate. You know you're looking at hard time regardless, right? What you did. I know. I don't care. As long as she's safe. For a long moment, Elena studied them both. Then she lowered her gun. Get inside, both of you. The warehouse interior was surprisingly functional living space, communications equipment, weapons cache. Elena gestured them toward a table. Talk, she said, and don't leave anything out. Aaron told her everything. The museum meetings, Vincent's ultimatum, the Russian shipment, his plan to use it as leverage. Elena listened without interrupting, her expression unreadable. You realize this is insane, she said when he finished. The Volkovs are not the Castellanos. They're former KGB, current Bratva, and they don't do warning shots. If you intercept their shipment, they'll hunt you to the ends of the earth. Let them try. And Vincent won't just roll over. The second he realizes you've betrayed him, I'll be in federal custody or dead. Either way, Sophie will be protected. Elena turned to Sophie. You understand what he's offering to do for you, the price he's willing to pay. Sophie's throat was tight. Yes. And you're okay with that? No, but he won't listen to me. Smart man. Elena pulled out a laptop. Okay, if we're doing this, we're doing it right. The Russian shipment arrives tomorrow night at Pier 47, correct? Aaron nodded. Security calm. Minimal on the Russian side. They're relying on secrecy over firepower. The Volkov brothers will be there personally to oversee the transfer. Maybe 6 guys total. And Vincent's expecting you to hit them how? Silent. Professional. Make it look like internal conflict so the Russians don't immediately retaliate against the Castellanos. Elena typed rapidly. But instead, you're going to secure the shipment, neutralize the Volkovs, and call in the cavalry. FBI raids both families simultaneously while they're scrambling to figure out what happened. That's the plan. It's a terrible plan. It's the only plan. Elena leaned back, studying Aaron. You've changed. 5 years ago, you would have just done the job and walked away. What happened? Aaron looked at Sophie. I found something worth dying for. Turned out to be more important than the things I was willing to kill for. Something shifted in Elena's expression, respect maybe, or understanding. All right, I'll make the call. But Ward, if this goes sideways, if you get Sophie killed because you're trying to play hero, I know. You'll hunt me down yourself. Damn right I will. Elena stepped away to make the call. Sophie grabbed Aaron's hand under the table. You don't have to do this, she whispered. Yes, I do. There has to be another way. Run away together, disappear, start over somewhere they'll never find us. They'd always find us. Men like Vincent, like the Volkovs, they have long memories and longer reach. We'd spend our entire lives looking over our shoulders, never safe, never free. He squeezed her hand. This way you get to live, really live, not hiding, not running, just living. Without you. Maybe, or maybe I get lucky, serve my time, and find you on the other side. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Either way, you're free. That's all I care about. Elena returned. It's done. Special Agent Marcus Chen, FBI Organized Crime Task Force. He's very interested in what you're offering. Wants to meet tonight to go over details. We're neutral ground, Federal Building, 8 p.m. Elena's expression was serious. But Aaron, you need to understand, once you walk into that building, there's no walking out the same person. They'll own you. Every second of your life from that moment on will belong to the Bureau. As long as Sophie gets to own her own life, I can live with that. The rest of the day passed in a blur of preparation. Elena provided them with fake IDs, clean phones, a secure location to wait until the meeting. Aaron spent hours going over details with her guard rotations, security protocols, potential complications. Sophie watched him work, memorizing every detail. The way he moved spoke planned. This was Aaron Ward, the professional, the man he'd been before he met her. Cold, efficient, lethal. But when he looked at her, something else flickered in his eyes. Something warm and desperate and achingly human. You should eat something, he said around 6 p.m., nodding toward the takeout Elena had brought in. I'm not hungry. Sophie, how can you expect me to eat when you're about to walk into a federal building and sign your life away? Aaron crossed the room, pulled her into his arms. Because I need you to be strong. Need you to survive this, whatever happens. Can you do that for me? I don't want to survive without you. Yes, you do. You're a survivor, Sophie Blake. You've been surviving your whole life, invisible, overlooked, underestimated. But not anymore. He pulled back, looked into her eyes. I see you. I see exactly who you are and who you can become. And I need you to promise me you'll become that person even if I'm not there to see it. Tears poured down her face. That's not fair. I know, but promise me anyway. I promise, I'll show you. He kissed her, then soft and sweet and heartbreaking. Like goodbye. At 7:30, Elena drove them to the federal building. The city looked different at night, with harsh lights and deep shadows. Sophie held Aaron's hand in the back seat, memorizing the feel of his skin against hers. You don't have to come inside, Aaron said. You can wait in the car, and I'm coming with you. Sophie, I'm coming with you. She squeezed his hand. You don't get to protect me from this. Not this time. Elena parked in the underground garage. Chen's waiting in interview room 3. He'll have at least 2 other agents with him, maybe more. Don't let them intimidate you. They need you more than you need them. Aaron nodded. Thanks, Elena, for everything. Don't thank me yet. This might be the stupidest thing you've ever done, and that's saying something. They took the elevator to the 4th floor. The hallway was empty, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Elena led them to a nondescript door and knocked twice. It opened. A man in his 50s stood there, Asian, fit, exhausted eyes that had seen too much. Aaron Ward, I'm Special Agent Marcus Chen. We have a lot to discuss. The interview room was exactly what Sophie expected. Gray walls, metal table chairs bolted to the floor. Two other agents flanked Chen, both younger, both watching Aaron like he might explode at any moment. Before we begin, Chen said, sliding a document across the table, I need you to understand what you're offering and what we're offering in return. You give us complete cooperation, names, dates, locations, evidence, everything you know about Castellano and Volkov operations. In exchange, we provide witness protection for Miss Blake and negotiate the best possible deal for you. Define best possible. You're looking at minimum 15 years, probably 20, federal prison protective custody given your history. But you'll be alive, and so will she. Aaron didn't hesitate. Where do I sign? Wait, Sophie grabbed his arm. 15 to 20 years, Aaron, that's the price, he turned to her. And I'll pay it gladly if it means you're safe. But, Sophie, please, let me do this. Let me do one good thing with this cursed life. His voice cracked. Let me save you, even if I can't save myself. She wanted to argue, wanted to scream that it wasn't fair, that there had to be another way. But looking into his eyes, seeing the desperate determination there, she knew nothing she said would change his mind. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Aaron signed the document. Chen collected it, nodded to one of the other agents. Now let's talk about tomorrow night, the Russian shipment. Walk me through your plan. For the next 2 hours, Aaron laid it all out. Pier 47, midnight arrival. The Volkov brothers' security detail, optimal entry points, extraction routes. He spoke like a tactician, briefing his team every detail, precise and practiced. Sophie listened, her heart breaking a little more with each word. This was who Aaron had been, a professional killer, cold and calculated. And now he was using those skills one last time to save her. We'll have a team in position by 11 p.m., Chen said. Snipers on the surrounding buildings, tactical units ready to move on your signal. The second you secure the shipment and neutralize the Volkovs, we move in. And the Castellanos. Simultaneous raids on all known Castellano properties. By the time Vincent realizes what's happening, his entire organization will be in custody. Aaron nodded slowly. There's one more thing. Vincent has a contingency plan, and if anything goes wrong, he has standing orders to eliminate anyone who might talk. That includes former associates, their families, anyone connected to the organization. We'll have protection details on all potential targets, including Ruby Chen. Chen paused. Ruby Chen, friend of Miss Blake's, currently at her parents' residence upstate. Marco Rinaldi has been watching her. If this goes wrong, Vincent will use her to draw me out. We'll have a team there within the hour. The meeting wrapped up around 10 p.m. Chen stood, extended his hand to Aaron. You're doing the right thing, Ward. I know it doesn't feel like it now, but you're saving lives, including your own. Aaron shook his hand. Just keep Sophie safe. That's all I care about. In the elevator back down, Aaron pulled Sophie close. She buried her face in his chest, breathing in his scent, memorizing the feel of his arms around her. I love you, she whispered. I love you too, more than I thought possible. The elevator doors opened. Elena was waiting in the garage, leaning against her car. How'd it go? It's done. They move tomorrow night. Aaron's voice was flat. After that, Sophie goes into protection, and I go into custody. Elena nodded. Then you've got one more night. Make it count. She drove them to the second safe house, a cabin 40 minutes outside the city, nestled in woods so thick the stars disappeared. Aaron had owned it for 6 years, had never brought anyone here before. This was going to be my retirement, he said as they stepped inside. The place I disappeared to when I finally got out. Just me and the silence. Sophie looked around. It was simple, one-room kitchenette bed. No TV, no internet, just peace. It's perfect, she said. They didn't talk much after that. Words felt inadequate, too small to hold everything they needed to say. Instead, Aaron built a fire while Sophie found candles. They sat together on the floor, watching flames dance, holding each other like they could stop time through sheer force of will. Tell me about after, Sophie said eventually. After what? After prison. After you've served your time. What happens then? Aaron was quiet for a long moment. I don't know if there is an after for me, Sophie. 20 years is a long time. And you'll move on, build a new life, meet someone who isn't broken and stained, and don't. She turned to face him. Don't tell me what I'll do or who I'll become. You don't get to decide that. I'm just being realistic. No, you're being the coward. Fire flashed in her eyes. You're already giving up on us, already writing the ending where I forget about you and move on and live happily ever after with someone safe and boring. Well, I won't. I won't forget you. I won't move on. And I sure as hell won't settle for safe when I've had extraordinary. Sophie, 20 years, fine, I'll wait. I'll visit every chance they let me. I'll write you letters every day. I'll count down every single second until you walk out of that prison and back to me. Tears streamed down her face. You don't get to save me and then tell me to forget you. That's not how this works. Aaron stared at her like she'd struck him. Then he laughed a broken, disbelieving sound. You're insane, you know that? Probably, but I'm your kind of insane. He kissed her, then deep and desperate and absolutely devastating. Sophie kissed him back, pouring every ounce of love and rage and desperate hope into it. They made love that night like it was the last time. Maybe it was, but Sophie refused to think about endings, refused to let grief steal this moment. Instead, she memorized every touch, every whispered word, every second of feeling completely and utterly alive. Afterward, they lay tangled together, the fire burning low. I'm scared, Aaron admitted quietly. Me too. What if something goes wrong tomorrow? What if I can't protect you? You already have. Whatever happens tomorrow, you have already saved me. Sophie propped herself up on one elbow, looked into his eyes. You gave me the best gift anyone ever has. You saw me. Really saw me. And that's not something I'll ever forget no matter what comes next. Aaron pulled her back down against his chest. Promise me something. Anything. If this goes wrong tomorrow, if I don't make it out, promise me you'll still live. Not just survive, but really live. Write your stories. Travel the world. Fall in love again if you can. Don't let my mistakes destroy your future. Aaron. Promise me, Sophie. She wanted to argue, wanted to tell him she'd never love anyone else, never move on. But looking at the desperate hope in his eyes, she understood what he needed to hear. I promise. He held her until she fell asleep, his arms tight around her, like he could shield her from tomorrow. But tomorrow came anyway. Sophie woke to find Aaron already awake, staring at the ceiling. The first light of dawn crept through the windows. What time is it? She asked. 6 a.m. We should head back to the city. I need to prepare. They drove in silence, the weight of what was coming pressing down on them both. Elena met them at the warehouse with coffee and tactical gear. Chen called, she said. Everything's in place. Sniper teams, tactical units, the whole 9 yards. All you have to do is give the signal. Aaron nodded, already shifting into operational mode. Sophie watched him suit up Kevlar vest, weapons, check communication device. This was Aaron Ward, the hitman, the professional she'd never seen before. And it terrified her. I need you to stay here, Aaron said, not looking at her. Elena will keep you safe until this is over. No. Sophie, please. I can't do this if I'm worried about you. I need to know you're secure. Then let me help. Let me be part of this. Absolutely not. This is going to be a war zone. The second bullets start flying, I can handle myself. I know you can, but I can't handle losing you. He finally turned to face her, and the raw fear in his eyes stole her breath. Please, Sophie, please stay here where it's safe. Let me do this knowing you're protected. She wanted to argue, but the desperation in his voice broke her heart. Okay, I'll stay. Relief flooded his face. He crossed the room, kissed her hard. I love you. Come back to me. I'll try. Then he was gone, the warehouse door slamming shut behind him. Sophie turned to Elena. You're not going to let me stay here, are you? Elena smiled grimly. Hell no. Grab a vest. We're going to need backup. The vest was heavier than Sophie expected, the Kevlar plates pressing against her ribs like a warning. Elena tossed her a comm unit and a can of pepper spray. That's it? Sophie asked. No gun. You ever fired one before? No. Then you'd be more dangerous to us than to them. Stay behind me, do exactly what I say, and if things go sideways, you run. Understood? Sophie nodded, her mouth dry. They took Elena's car, weaving through late afternoon traffic toward the waterfront. The sun was setting, painting the sky blood red. Sophie's hands wouldn't stop shaking. He's going to be furious when he sees you, Elena said. I know. Might get us both killed. I know that too, Elena glanced at her. So why risk it? Because he'd do the same for me. Because love means showing up even when you're terrified. Because, Sophie's voice cracked. Because what? If something goes wrong and I never see him again, I can't live with that. You might not live at all if you come with me, Pum. Then at least I'll die trying. Elena was quiet for a moment. Then he really got to you, didn't he? Completely. Good. He deserves that. Deserves someone who sees past what he was to who he's trying to become. Elena's grip tightened on the wheel. Just don't make me regret this, Blake. If you get killed because I brought you along, you won't. I'll be careful. That's what they all say. They parked 3 blocks from Pier 47 in an alley between abandoned warehouses. Elena checked her weapon, tested her comm. Chen, this is Vasquez. I'm in position with an extra set of eyes. Copy that, Vasquez. Wait, extra eyes, who? Blake insisted. She's wearing a vest, staying back. Don't tell Ward. Static crackled, then Chen's voice tight with tension. If she gets hurt, this whole operation goes to hell. Ward won't be able to focus. I know, I'll keep her safe. Elena killed the comm and turned to Sophie. Stay low, stay quiet, stay alive. That's the only job you have tonight. They moved through the shadows toward the pier. Sophie could hear water lapping against concrete, could smell salt and diesel, and something else, gunpowder maybe, or fear. Her heart hammered so hard she thought everyone within a mile could hear it. FBI sniper teams report. Chen's voice crackled through the comm. Alpha team position secure. Bravo team locked and loaded. Charlie team, we have eyes on the target area. All teams hold position. Ward, what's your status? Aaron's voice came through cold and professional. In position. Russian transport just turned onto Harbor Street. Ite, 2 minutes. Sophie's breath caught. He sounded so different, not the gentle man who'd held her last night, but the killer he used to bind him. Remember, Chen said. We need the Volkov brothers alive for questioning. Secure the shipment, neutralize the guards, but the brothers come with us. Copy that. Elena pulled Sophie behind a shipping container. Through a gap in the metal, Sophie could see the pier empty, except for a few scattered crates and a black van parked near the water. That's Aaron's vehicle, Elena whispered. He'll use it to transport the shipment once he secures it. Then we move in. Where is he? Somewhere we can't see. That's the point. Headlights cut through the darkness. A truck rumbled onto the pier, followed by 2 SUVs. Men poured out, 6 of them, all armed, all moving with military precision. And then the Volkov brothers emerged. Sophie had never seen them before, but she knew them instantly. They moved like predators, all coiled violence and casual cruelty. The older one, Dmitri, she remembered Aaron saying, was tall and broad, with a scar running from his eye to his jaw. The younger Alexei was leaner, faster, with dead eyes that reflected no light. Open it, Dmitri ordered in heavily accented English. One of the guards unlocked the truck's cargo hold. Even from her hiding spot, Sophie could see the contents, wooden crates stamped with Cyrillic letters, enough weapons to start a war. Beautiful, Alexei said, running his hand over one crate. The Castellanos will weep when they see what they're missing. If they see it, Dmitri corrected. We move fast, establish dominance then. The shot came from nowhere. One of the guards dropped a red flower blooming on his chest. Then another. Then a third. Aaron was moving. Sophie couldn't see him, but she could track his progress by the falling bodies. 3 down in as many seconds, each shot precise and lethal. The remaining guards scattered, returning fire blindly. Alexei dove behind the truck, while Dmitri pulled a gun and started barking orders in Russian. All teams hold. Chen's voice crackled. Let Ward work. Another guard fell. Then the last one. Only the Volkov brothers remained. Aaron Ward, Dmitri called out, his voice echoing across the pier. I know it's you. Vincent's attack dog, come to heal. Silence. Show yourself or I start shooting into the shadows until I hit something important. Aaron stepped into the light gun trained on Dmitri's head. On your knees, both of you. Alexei laughed, a sound like breaking glass. You think we're afraid of you? You're 1 man against 2. And we didn't survive the Bratva by being stupid. You survived by being ruthless. But I'm something worse. Aaron's voice was ice. I'm desperate, and desperate men don't hesitate. Neither do we, Alexei said. He moved fast, inhumanly fast, pulling a knife and hurling it in one fluid motion. Aaron twisted, but not quite fast enough. The blade caught his shoulder, sinking deep. Aaron fired twice. Alexei went down, but Dmitri was already moving, charging like a bull. He hit Aaron with the force of a freight train, and they both went down in a tangle of limbs and violence. Now, Chen shouted, all teams move in. Chaos erupted. FBI tactical units poured onto the pier from every direction. Snipers provided covering fire. Elena grabbed Sophie's arm and yanked her forward. Stay with me. They ran toward the fight. Dmitri had Aaron pinned, massive hands wrapped around his throat. Aaron's gun had skittered away out of reach. His face was turning purple. Sophie didn't think. She just moved. She grabbed the pepper spray from her pocket and sprayed it directly into Dmitri's eyes. He roared, releasing Aaron to claw at his face. Aaron surged up, drove his elbow into Dmitri's throat, and the big man went down, gasping. Aaron spun to face Sophie, blood streaming from his shoulder, and his expression cycled through shock, fury, and terror in the span of a heartbeat. What the hell are you doing here? Saving your life, apparently. I told you to stay. An engine roared. The black van, Aaron's van, was moving, tires screeching as it accelerated away from the pier. The shipment, Chen shouted. Someone's stealing the goddamn shipment. Aaron was already running. Sophie chased after him, Elena cursing behind them both. The van crashed through a chain-link fence and careened onto the street. Aaron dove into one of the Russian SUVs, hot-wired it in seconds. Get in, he shouted. Sophie threw herself into the passenger seat. Elena jumped in back. Aaron floored it before the door was even closed. This is insane, Elena yelled. We should let the tactical teams... No time. Whoever has that shipment has leverage. They could disappear, sell it, use it against us. Aaron's eyes were locked on the van ahead. We end this now. The chase tore through the industrial district, the van weaving between buildings, the SUV right on its tail. Aaron drove like a man possessed, taking corners that should have flipped them, accelerating through spaces that shouldn't have existed. Who's driving that van? Sophie gasped, gripping the dashboard. I don't know, but they knew exactly when to move, which means someone tipped them off, Elena finished. Someone inside the operation. Aaron's jaw clenched. Chen. No way. Chen's clean. I've known him for years. Or Vincent got to him, or the Volkovs did, or... Aaron cut the wheel hard and the SUV slammed into the van's rear quarter panel. Metal shrieked. The van fishtailed, but didn't stop. There, Sophie pointed. The van was heading for the bridge, the one that led out of the city. If they make it across, we lose them in the suburbs. Game over. Aaron pushed the SUV harder. They hit the bridge, doing 90. The van was 20 yards ahead, weaving through late-night traffic. Aaron pulled alongside it, trying to force it toward the rail. That's when Sophie saw the driver. Marco Rinaldi, the man with the snake tattoo, the one who'd been following her for weeks. It's Marco, she shouted. Aaron's expression went dark. Vincent's cleanup crew. He's stealing the shipment to make sure no one gets it. Not the FBI, not the Volkovs, no one. Ram him off the road, Elena said. We're on a bridge. We go over, we all die. Then what? The van's rear doors flew open. A man appeared, not Marco, someone else with a rocket launcher. Down, Aaron screamed. He cut the wheel hard just as the rocket fired. It missed them by inches, slamming into an abandoned car behind them and erupting in a ball of fire. They're trying to kill us. Sophie's ears were ringing. No, they're trying to destroy the evidence. If they can't have the shipment, no one can. Aaron's voice was deadly calm. Hold on. He accelerated, pulled ahead of the van, then slammed on the brakes. The van driver, Marco, had a split second to react. He swerved, overcorrected, and the van's front tire caught the bridge rail. For one impossible moment, it balanced on two wheels. Then it went over. Sophie screamed. The van tumbled through the air, spinning like a train, and hit the water 70 feet below. The impact sounded like a bomb going off. Aaron stopped the SUV, jumped out, ran to the rail. The van was sinking fast, already half submerged. We have to get the shipment, he said. Are you insane? That water's got to be near freezing, and you're injured. If that evidence disappears, Vincent walks. The Volkovs walk. Everyone walks, and Sophie's in danger for the rest of her life. Aaron pulled off his jacket, wincing as the movement aggravated his shoulder wound. I'm getting that shipment. Aaron, no. Sophie grabbed his arm. He turned, cupped her face with both hands. I love you. Remember that. Then he jumped. Sophie's scream followed him into the darkness. Elena grabbed her before she could follow. He knows what he's doing. We have to trust him. He's bleeding. He could drown. He could... The water below was black as oil, swallowing Aaron completely. Sophie counted seconds, 10, 20, 30. How long could someone hold their breath? How long before hypothermia set in? 40 seconds, 50. Come on, Elena muttered. A full minute. He's not coming up, Sophie whispered. Elena, he's not. Aaron's head broke the surface. He was gasping, shaking, holding something above the water, a metal case. He got it, Elena breathed. That crazy son of a bitch actually got it. But Aaron was struggling. The current was pulling him downstream away from the bridge. His injured shoulder wasn't working right. The case was dragging him down. We need to get down there, Sophie said. They ran back to the SUV, Elena already on the comm. Chen, we have the package, but Ward's in the water. We need rescue at the north side of the bridge now. Copy that. EMTs are en route. What's Ward's condition? Alive, barely. They drove down to the embankment. Sophie was out of the vehicle before it fully stopped running toward the water's edge. Aaron was crawling onto the rocky shore, the case still clutched in one hand. He collapsed face first into the mud. Sophie reached him, rolled him over. His lips were blue, his skin ice cold. The knife wound in his shoulder was bleeding again, turning the water around him pink. Stay with me, she begged, pressing her hands against the wound. Don't you dare die on me, not after everything. Aaron's eyes fluttered open. Did I get it? You got it. The case is right here. Good. He coughed, water spilling from his mouth. Sophie, I'm sorry. Sorry, I couldn't be better. Couldn't be clean. You're better than you think. You're... Sirens wailed in the distance. Red and blue lights painted the night. FBI, someone shouted. Hands where we can see them. Don't shoot, Elena yelled back. Federal witness. We need medical. Now, EMTs swarmed them. They pulled Sophie away from Aaron, started working on him with efficient urgency. IV lines, pressure bandages, heated blankets. Is he going to make it? Sophie asked the nearest paramedic. Hypothermia, blood loss, possible drowning. It's bad, but he's strong. We'll do everything we can. They loaded Aaron into an ambulance. Sophie tried to climb in after him, but a hand caught her arm. Chen stood there looking exhausted and grim. Miss Blake, I need you to come with me. I need to be with Aaron. Aaron is going to the hospital under federal custody. You can't go with him, but we need to debrief. You make sure you're safe and start the witness protection process. I don't care about witness protection. I care about... Vincent Castellano is in custody, Chen interrupted. We raided his compound 20 minutes ago. 43 arrests, including most of his top lieutenants. The Volkov operation is in chaos with both brothers down. This is over, Miss Blake. You're safe. The words didn't register. I need to see Aaron. And you will. But first we have procedures. Federal witness protocols exist for a reason. Elena stepped beside him. I'll go with her, Chen. Make sure she's treated right. Chen nodded. We have a safe house ready. Miss Blake, I know this is hard, but Aaron sacrificed a lot to get you here. Don't waste that by doing something stupid. Sophie wanted to argue, wanted to scream that none of this mattered if Aaron died. But looking at Chen's exhausted face, at Elena's steady presence, she knew they were right. Okay, she whispered. Okay. They drove her to a federal building, led her through endless corridors to a small room with a couch and bad coffee. Two agents, a woman named Torres and a man named Kim, explained what happened next. Witness protection means a new identity, Torres said. New name, new city, new life. You can't contact anyone from your old life. That includes friends, family. Ruby, Sophie interrupted. Is she safe? Ruby Chen is fine. We had a protective detail on her the whole time. She's being debriefed separately. Can I see her? Not yet. Maybe not ever, depending on how the trials go. The Castellano organization is extensive. Some members are still at large. Until we're certain you're not in danger. I don't care about the danger. I care about the people I love. Kim leaned forward. Miss Blake, Aaron Ward gave up his freedom to protect you. The least you can do is let that protection work. The words hit like a slap. Sophie slumped back, feeling the weight of everything crushing down on her. "Where is he now?" she asked quietly. "University Hospital under guard. He's in surgery. The knife wound was deeper than it looked, and he aspirated water. But the doctors are optimistic." "When can I see him?" "That's complicated. Aaron is federal property now. His visitors will be strictly controlled." "I'm not a visitor. Sophie's voice broke. "I'm the person he did this for. Doesn't that count for something?" Torres and Kim exchanged glances. "We'll see what we can do," Torres said finally, "but no promises." They left her alone then. Sophie sat in that sterile room drinking terrible coffee, watching the clock tick toward midnight. Every minute felt like an hour. Finally, the door opened. Chen entered, looking even more exhausted than before. "He's out of surgery," he said, "stable. The doctors say he'll make a full recovery." Relief flooded through Sophie so powerfully she thought she might pass out. "Can I see him?" "Tomorrow. He's sedated right now anyway. But Miss Blake, Sophie, there's something you need to understand. Aaron's cooperation bought you freedom, but it bought him a prison sentence. The U.S. attorney is offering 15 years in exchange for his testimony. That's a long time." "I know. And you need to be prepared for the possibility that he'll tell you to move on, to forget about him and build a new life." Chen's expression was kind but firm. "Men like Aaron, they don't always believe they deserve happiness. He might push you away to protect you from the reality of what he is." "Then I'll push back." "What if he won't let you?" Sophie met Chen's eyes. "Then I'll wait 15 years, 20, however long it takes, because he saw me when no one else did. And I'm not going to abandon him just because the road ahead is hard." Chen studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled just a little. "He's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have him. Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a long day." But Sophie couldn't rest. She lay on the couch in that safe house, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. The museum, the sculpture garden, Aaron's hands on her face, the warehouse, the chase the moment he jumped into that freezing water without hesitation. He'd done it all for her, and now she had to figure out how to do right by him. Morning came with gray light and cold coffee. Torres arrived at 7 with fresh clothes and news. "Aaron's awake, she said, "and he's asking for you." Sophie's heart leaped. "When can I go?" "Now, but Sophie, you need to prepare yourself. He's not in good shape, physically or mentally." They drove to University Hospital in silence. Federal agents were posted at every entrance in every corridor. Sophie's hands shook as they rode the elevator to the 4th floor. Aaron was in a private room at the end of the hall. 2 guards stood outside. 15 minutes, Torres said. "That's all we can give you." Sophie nodded and pushed open the door. Aaron lay in the hospital bed, pale and bruised, IV lines running into both arms. His shoulder was heavily bandaged. He looked smaller, somehow, diminished. But when he saw her, his eyes lit up. "Sophie." She crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed his hand, held it like a lifeline. "You're okay. You're alive." "Barely." He tried to smile but winced. "Turns out jumping into freezing water with a stab wound is bad for your health." "Who knew?" "You could have died." "But I didn't. And the shipment, they got it right. The evidence. They got everything. Vincent's in custody. His operation is dismantled. The Volkovs are finished. It's over, Aaron. You did it." Something flickered in his eyes, relief maybe, or grief. "And you're okay. They're taking care of you." "I'm fine, but Aaron, they're saying 15 years. 15 years in prison." "I know. That's half a lifetime." "I know that too." He squeezed her hand weakly. "But you'll be safe. You and Ruby both. That's all that matters." "It's not all that matters. You matter. We matter." Aaron looked away. "Sophie, you need to listen to me. Really listen. The deal I made, it's not just about prison time. I'm going to testify against some of the most dangerous people in this city. Even in prison, I'll have a target on my back. And anyone associated with me will be in danger. I know. I don't care. You should care. You should walk out of this room, take your new identity, and disappear into a life where you never have to think about me again. Is that what you want?" "What I want doesn't matter." "Answer the question, Aaron. Is that what you want?" He finally looked at her, and the pain in his eyes was unbearable. "No, God, no. What I want is to walk out of here with you, start over somewhere new, spend the rest of my life making up for all the evil I've done. But that's not reality. Reality is 15 years in a federal prison, followed by a lifetime of looking over my shoulder. And I won't drag you into that. You're not dragging me. I'm choosing this. Choosing you. Why? His voice cracked. Why would you choose this? Choose me. I'm a killer, Sophie. I've taken lives, destroyed families, caused so much pain. And you're trying to make it right. You're sacrificing everything to protect me, to stop others from getting hurt. That's not a killer. That's a hero. I'm not a hero. Yes, you are. You're my hero. Tears streamed down her face. So don't you dare push me away. Don't you dare decide what's best for me. I'm a grown woman, and I'm choosing to wait for you. 15 years, 20, however long it takes. Sophie, I'll visit every week they let me. I'll write you every day. I'll be there when you get out, and we'll start over together. That's my choice, and you don't get to take it away from me. Aaron pulled her down, kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. You're insane, he whispered. I'm in love. Same thing. They held each other until Torres knocked on the door. Time's up. Sophie pulled back reluctantly. I'll be back tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. I'm counting on it. She kissed him one more time, then forced herself to walk away. At the door, she turned back. Aaron, thank you for seeing me, for saving me, for loving me enough to let me choose my own path. Sophie Blake, he said, his voice rough with emotion. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, and I will spend every day of the next 15 years becoming someone worthy of that. You already are. Outside the hospital, Sophie stood in the morning sun, breathing deeply. Everything had changed. Her quiet librarian life was gone, replaced by federal protection and an uncertain future. But she wasn't alone, and she wasn't invisible. Aaron Ward had seen her, had loved her, had sacrificed everything for her. Now it was her turn to prove that love could survive anything, even 15 years and a lifetime of consequences. She pulled out the burner phone Torres had given her and dialed a number. Ruby answered on the first ring. Sophie? Oh my God, are you okay? They wouldn't tell me anything, just that you were safe and... I'm fine, Ruby. I'm safe, and I have a very long story to tell you. Are you in trouble? No, but I'm going into witness protection. New name, new city. I can't tell you where. Silence. Then because of him, because of Aaron. Yes. Sophie, I don't understand. How can you throw away your entire life for a man you barely know? Sophie looked back at the hospital, at the window where she knew Aaron lay recovering. Because he's not just a man I barely know. He's the person who taught me that I deserve to be seen, to be loved, to matter. Her voice strengthened. And I'm not throwing my life away. I'm choosing a different one, a harder one maybe, but one that's mine. Ruby was quiet for a long moment. You really love him? I really do. Then I support you. Even though I think you're crazy, even though I'm terrified for you, I support you. Thank you. That means everything. Will I ever see you again? I don't know, maybe. Someday when it's safe. Then I'll wait, just like you're waiting for him. Ruby's voice cracked. Be happy, Soph, or at least try to be. I will, I promise. After they hung up, Sophie stood there for a long time, feeling the sun on her face, the wind in her hair. Feeling alive and present and absolutely terrified of what came next. But she wasn't running. She was staying, fighting, choosing love over fear. In 15 years from now, when Aaron Ward walked out of that prison, Sophie Blake would be waiting. Not because she had to, because she wanted to, because he touched her first. And she'd be damned if anyone else ever would. The first letter arrived 3 days after Aaron's transfer to federal prison. Sophie held it in her hands, staring at the return address, Federal Correctional Institution, Coleman, Florida, and felt her heart crack open all over again. His handwriting was precise, controlled, nothing like the chaotic emotions she knew were churning inside him. She opened it, standing in the kitchen of her new apartment in Portland, Oregon. Her new name, Claire Martin, still felt foreign in her mouth, like wearing someone else's skin. The letter was short. Sophie, don't wait for me. Please, I'm begging you. Build a life. Be happy. Forget I ever existed. That's the only thing that will make these 15 years bearable, knowing you're out there somewhere living freely. I love you too much to let you waste your life on me, Aaron. Sophie crumpled the letter, threw it across the room, then retrieved it and smoothed it out with shaking hands. Like hell I will, she said to the empty apartment. She sat down and wrote back immediately. Aaron, I don't take orders well. You should know that by now. I'm not waiting for you, I'm waiting with you. There's a difference. Every day you're in there, I'm building something worth coming home to. So stop trying to push me away and start telling me about your day. What's the food like? Are you safe? Do you need anything? I love you. Forever. Sophie. She mailed it that afternoon. His response came a week later. Just 2 words, you're stubborn. Sophie smiled for the first time since watching them take him away in shackles. She wrote back, you're observant. Now tell me what you need. The letters became their lifeline. Aaron resisted at first, his responses terse and emotionally distant. But Sophie was relentless, writing every single day about her new life, her new job at a Portland bookstore, the rain that never seemed to stop the coffee that was somehow both better and worse than what she'd known before. Slowly, Aaron started opening up. He told her about the prison routine, about the other inmates who gave him a wide berth once they learned who he'd been. He told her about the therapy sessions the court mandated, about confronting the things he'd done and the person he'd been. My therapist asked me today what I want my life to mean. He wrote 3 months in. I told her it already means something. It means keeping you safe. She said that's not enough, that I need to find purpose beyond you. I don't know how to tell her that you are my purpose, that every breath I take in this place is only because I know you're out there living the life I helped give you. Sophie cried reading that letter. Then she wrote back, your therapist is right. I can't be your only purpose. But Aaron, you can be your own purpose. You can become the man you want to be, not for me, but for yourself. I'll still be here either way. 6 months passed, then a year. Sophie visited when they let her once a month, heavily supervised and always too short. Seeing Aaron behind glass, hearing his voice through a phone was both the best and worst part of her new life. You look different, he said during one visit. His hair was shorter, his body leaner from prison workouts. But his eyes, those dark, intense eyes, were exactly the same. So do you. Prison does that to a person. He tried to smile. How's the bookstore? Good. I got promoted to assistant manager. Sophie leaned closer to the glass. And I've been writing. His expression shifted. Writing what? Our story, not for publication, just for me, so I don't forget any of it. The museum, the sculpture garden, the night you jumped into the river. Her voice dropped. The way you looked at me like I mattered. Sophie, I'm calling it the first and the last. Do you remember saying that to me? Every day. His hand pressed against the glass. I meant it, you know. You were my first real connection in years, and you'll be my last. There's no one after you. Good, because there's no one after you either. They sat in silence, hands separated by bulletproof glass, trying to bridge the unbridgeable distance between them. I testified yesterday, Aaron said finally, against Vincent. They brought me in chains, put me in a box in the courtroom, made me recite every terrible thing I'd ever done for him. How did it feel? Like dying, like being reborn, like both at once. He closed his eyes. Vincent stared at me the whole time, not angry, just disappointed, like I'd failed some test. And maybe I did. Maybe the old Aaron would have stayed loyal, would have taken his secrets to the grave. The old Aaron would have gotten us both killed. I know, but that doesn't make it easier. Sophie wished she could hold him, could tell him it would be okay. But all she had was her voice and the phone pressed against her ear. You're doing the right thing, she said, and I'm proud of you. Don't be. I'm only doing this because I have to. No, you're doing it because you chose to. There's a difference. The guard called time. They had 30 seconds left. I love you, Sophie said quickly, and I'll be back next month. Same time, same place. Sophie, wait. What? Aaron's expression was raw, vulnerable. Don't give up your life for me. Please. If you meet someone, if you fall in love again, not happening. But if it does, Guama, it won't. You were my first Aaron Ward, and you'll be my last. I promise you that. She stood preparing to leave. Now stop trying to give me permission to leave you because I'm not taking it. She walked away before he could argue, before the tears she'd been holding back could fall. Outside the prison, Sophie sat in her car and sobbed. A year down, 14 to go. It felt impossible. But she'd come back next month anyway. Time passed in strange ways. Days dragged, but months flew. Sophie threw herself into work, into writing, into building a life that Aaron could walk into when he got out. She made friends carefully, always keeping her real identity hidden. She dated exactly 0 people despite well-meaning coworkers trying to set her up. "You're too young to be alone," her manager Beth said one day. "There's a guy who comes in every Thursday, always asks about you. Not interested." "You don't even know who." "Still not interested." Beth studied her. "You're waiting for someone, aren't you?" Sophie almost lied, but something about Beth's kind eyes made her tell a version of the truth. "Yes, he's away for a long time. Military, something like that." "Does he know you're waiting?" "I tell him every time I see him. He keeps trying to give me an out." Beth smiled. "Then he's an idiot. Any man who has a woman willing to wait for him should count himself the luckiest person alive." "I'll tell him you said so." 2 years and Sophie got a letter that made her heart stop. "There was a riot today. A Castellano associate recognized me in the yard, decided to settle old scores. I took a knife to the ribs. I'm fine, the guards got there in time. I'm in the infirmary." "But Sophie, this is what I was afraid of. This is why you shouldn't wait. Because I might not make it to the end of this sentence. And then what you've wasted years on a dead man." Sophie read the letter 3 times, then booked an emergency flight to Florida. The prison officials tried to stop her. Visiting hours were strict, no exceptions. But Sophie had learned something in 2 years of navigating federal bureaucracy: persistence and tears could open doors. "My fiancé was stabbed," she told the warden. "I need to see him, 5 minutes. Please." Maybe it was the desperation in her voice. Maybe it was the fact that Aaron had been a model prisoner despite the attempt on his life. But the warden nodded. 5 minutes. That's all I can give you." They brought Aaron to a private visiting room. He looked terrible pale, moving carefully, one hand pressed against his bandaged ribs. When he saw Sophie, he actually staggered. "What are you doing here?" "You were stabbed. What did you think I'd do?" "I told you I was fine." "You almost died." "But I didn't." He lowered himself into a chair with a grimace. "Sophie, you can't fly across the country every time something happens to me. That's not sustainable." "Then stop almost dying." She sat across from him, fighting tears. "Do you have any idea what that letter did to me? Reading that someone tried to kill you, that you're in danger every single day? That's my reality. That's what I chose when I made that deal." "No, you chose to protect me. But Aaron, I need you to protect yourself too. Because if you die in here, Her voice broke. "I don't know how to do this without knowing you're coming back." Aaron reached across the table, took her hand. The guards started to object, but something in Aaron's expression made him stay quiet. "I'm not going anywhere," Aaron said softly. "I promise. I'll be more careful. I'll watch my back. I'll do whatever it takes to survive this. But Sophie, you have to promise me something too." "What?" "Promise me you're actually living. Not just existing, not just waiting, really living. Making friends, taking risks, being happy." "I am happy." "Liar." Sophie laughed despite herself. "Okay, I'm not happy. I'm miserable and lonely, and I miss you so much I can barely breathe sometimes. But I'm also building something. Writing, working, creating a life. And in 13 years, you're going to walk into that life and make it complete." 13 years is a long time. "I know. I'm counting every day." They sat in silence, hands joined across the table until the guard said time was up. Sophie flew back to Portland, feeling both better and worse. Better because she'd seen Aaron alive. Worse because the reality of 13 more years felt crushing. But she kept writing, kept visiting, kept loving him from a distance that sometimes felt insurmountable. Year 3 brought a new development. Elena called her. They'd stayed in touch, one of the few connections to her old life that Sophie was allowed to maintain. "Chen wants to talk to you," Elena said without preamble. "About what, Aaron?" "Apparently some new evidence has surfaced, evidence that could reduce his sentence." Sophie's heart leaped. "How much?" "I don't know, but Chen wants to meet. Tomorrow if you can." Sophie called in sick to work and met Chen at a coffee shop in downtown Portland. He looked older, more worn, but his eyes were sharp. "Miss Blake, or should I say Miss Martin," he said, sliding into the booth across from her. "Sophie is fine." "Sophie, then. I'll get right to it. Aaron's testimony helped us take down not just the Castellanos, but 3 other crime families. He's been cooperative, provided additional intelligence, helped prevent 2 attempted hits on federal witnesses. Chen leaned forward. The U.S. attorney is willing to revise his deal. Instead of 15 years, they're offering 8. 8 years, 7 less than the original sentence. Sophie's vision swam. What's the catch? No catch. He's earned it. But there's a condition: he has to testify in 3 more trials. High profile, dangerous. The kind that will put an even bigger target on his back. He'll do it, Sophie said immediately. I haven't asked him yet. He'll do it, she repeated. If it means getting out sooner, if it means we have a future that's not a decade away, he'll do it in a heartbeat. Chen smiled slightly. You're probably right. I'll present the offer next week. After he left, Sophie sat in that coffee shop for an hour trying to process. 8 years instead of 15. It was still an eternity, but it was survivable, barely. She wrote to Aaron that night but didn't mention Chen's visit. That was Aaron's news to receive his decision to make. His next letter nearly broke her. They offered me a deal. 8 years if I testify 3 more times. I said no. Sophie read that line 5 times, certain she'd misunderstood. She called the prison, demanded to speak to Aaron, was told it was impossible. So she wrote back, her hands shaking so badly she could barely form words. Why would you say no, Aaron? This is 7 years of your life. 7 years we could have together. Why? His response came faster than usual. Because those trials will make me an even bigger target. Because every time I testify, I'm putting a price on my head. And if I die in here because I got greedy for freedom, you'll have wasted years waiting for a corpse. I won't do that to you. Sophie crumpled the letter, screamed into a pillow, then wrote back through her tears. You don't get to make that choice for me. You don't get to decide what's worth the risk. I'm telling you right now, testify. Take the deal. Give us 8 years instead of 15. Because I need something to hold on to, Aaron. I need hope that this ends before I'm 40 years old. Please, I'm begging you. She mailed it overnight. 3 days later, her phone rang. It was Chen. He took the deal, he said. Started negotiations this morning. We'll have him testifying within the month. Sophie's knees gave out. She slid down the wall and her apartment phone pressed to her ear. Thank you. Thank God. Don't thank me. Thank yourself. Whatever you wrote in that letter, it got through to him. The first trial was brutal. Aaron testified for 6 hours about a murder he'd witnessed, about the chain of command that ordered it. The defense attorney tore into him, called him a liar and a killer, and a dozen other things that were all true. But Aaron held firm. Sophie watched from the gallery, her new identity meaning that she could attend without drawing attention. She watched Aaron's face as he recounted horrors, watched him flinch when they showed crime scene photos, watched him steadily dismantle the defense's case. When it was over, when the defendant was convicted and led away in chains, Aaron glanced into the gallery. Their eyes met for just a second. Sophie nodded. I'm proud of you. Aaron's expression cracked just slightly. Then they led him back to prison, year 4, then 5. The visits became easier and harder simultaneously. Easier because they'd found a rhythm, a way of being together in fractured moments. Harder because every visit ended the same way, with Sophie walking out alone. Tell me something good, Aaron said during one visit. Something that has nothing to do with this place. Sophie thought for a moment. I finished the book, our story, all of it from the museum to right now. And I cried writing the ending. We don't have an ending yet. We will. In 3 years, you walk out of here. We go somewhere quiet. We start over. Sophie pressed her hand against the glass. That's the ending I wrote. Think it'll come true. If you wrote it, then yes, you're a better author than fate ever was. I hope you're right. Year 6 brought the second trial. This one was worse, a RICO case involving multiple murders, millions in drug money, corruption reaching into law enforcement. Aaron testified for 3 full days, his voice never wavering, even as the defense tried everything to break him. Sophie attended every second. When the jury returned guilty verdicts on all counts, Aaron looked directly at her in the gallery. The message in his eyes was clear. 2 down, 1 to go. But the third trial brought complications no one saw coming. One of the defendants, a man named Viktor Orlov, Russian mob enforcer, had connections inside the prison. A week before Aaron was scheduled to testify, he was attacked again. This time it was coordinated, planned. 3 inmates cornered him in the showers. Aaron fought back. He was still lethal even after 6 years behind bars, but there were 3 of them and one of him. He ended up in intensive care with a punctured lung, broken ribs, and a concussion. Sophie got the call at 2 a.m. Miss Martin, this is Coleman Federal Correctional. Aaron Ward has been involved in an altercation. He's in critical condition. The phone slipped from her hand. She was on a plane 4 hours later, still in her pajamas, her manager's confused questions ringing in her ears. She didn't care. Aaron was dying and nothing else mattered. The hospital wouldn't let her see him at first. Security protocols, they said. He was a federal prisoner under protection, they said. Sophie didn't care what they said. I'm his fiancée, she told the guard outside ICU. It was the first time she'd used that word out loud, even though they'd never officially gotten engaged. I flew across the country to be here. You can either let me in or arrest me, but I'm not leaving. Maybe it was the desperation in her voice. Maybe it was the tears streaming down her face. But the guard stepped aside. Aaron was unconscious, machines breathing for him, his face swollen beyond recognition. Sophie pulled a chair to his bedside and took his hand. You promised me, she whispered. You promised you'd be careful. You promised you'd make it to the end. The machines beeped steadily. No response. I need you to wake up, Aaron. I need you to fight. Because we're so close, just 3 more years and we're free. 3 years and we get our life. Don't you dare give up now. She stayed for 3 days, slept in the chair, ate vending machine, food refused to leave. The guards tried to make her go, but Chen intervened. Let her stay, he told them. Ward's testified in 2 of the biggest mob trials in a decade. The least we can do is let the woman who kept him alive see him through this. On the 3rd day, Aaron's eyes opened. Sophie was dozing when she felt his hand twitch in hers. She jerked awake to find him staring at her, confusion giving way to recognition. Sophie, I'm here. I'm right here. You came. His voice was barely a whisper. Of course I came. You were hurt. I told you not to waste your life. Shut up. Sophie was crying and laughing at the same time. Just shut up and get better so I can yell at you properly. Aaron tried to smile but winced. Can't wait. He was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Sophie stayed the entire time, only leaving when they physically made her. She watched him heal, watched color return to his face, watched him fight his way back from the edge. The trial's postponed, Chen told them on day 10. Orlov's attorney is claiming Aaron's too compromised to testify. We're fighting it, but it could take months. I'll testify, Aaron said immediately. Broken ribs or not. Aaron, you can barely breathe. I don't care. We're not giving them more time to come after me. I testify now. We end this. Chen looked at Sophie. Can you talk sense into him? When have I ever been able to do that? But she squeezed Aaron's hand. If he says he can do it, he can do it. The trial resumed 3 weeks later. Aaron testified from a wheelchair, his voice hoarse but unwavering. He recounted every crime, every murder, every detail that would put Victor Orlov away for life. The defense attacked him viciously, called him unreliable, claimed his injuries had affected his memory, insinuated he was lying to reduce his sentence. But Aaron held firm. When the guilty verdict came down, Aaron looked at Sophie in the gallery and mouthed 2 words almost there. Just 3 years left. Sophie could survive 3 years. Year 7 passed in a blur of routine. Letters, visits, phone calls on holidays. Sophie's book sat finished in a drawer she couldn't bring herself to read. It couldn't face the possibility that she'd written an ending that might never come true. But Aaron was different now. The attacks had changed him, hardened him in some ways, but softened him in others. He stopped trying to push Sophie away, stopped telling her to move on. Instead, he started planning. When I get out, he said during a visit, I want to go somewhere quiet, somewhere we've never been, start completely fresh. Like where? I don't know, mountains maybe, or the ocean, somewhere we can breathe. I'd live in a cardboard box if it meant being with you. I'm hoping for slightly better accommodations than that. They laughed and it felt like healing. Year 8 began with a countdown, 365 days until Aaron's release. Sophie marked each one on a calendar, crossing off days like a prisoner herself. Work became autopilot. Friends became background noise. Everything was just killing time until the day she could drive to Coleman Federal Correctional and watch Aaron walk out a free man. You seem distracted, Beth commented one day at the bookstore. Sorry, big year. Anything you want to talk about? Sophie almost said no, but something made her tell the truth. Remember how I said I was waiting for someone? The guy who's away. He comes home this year. In 7 months, 3 days. Beth's eyes widened. You're still counting days. Every single one. That's, that's incredible. Most people can't wait 7 months for a pizza delivery. He's worth waiting for. He better be after 8 years, Sophie smiled. He is. 6 months out, Aaron called her. They got 15 minutes once a month, always supervised, always precious. I'm scared, he admitted. What if I get out and I don't know how to be normal? What if 8 years in here broke something that can't be fixed? Then we'll fix it together, Aaron. I'm not expecting you to walk out of there perfect and healed. I'm expecting you to walk out and let me help you become whoever you want to be next. What if I don't know who that is? Then we'll figure it out. Together. That's what partners do. Partners. He said the word like he was tasting it. I like that. Good, because you're stuck with me. Best prison sentence I ever got. 3 months out, Sophie started preparing. She quit her job at the bookstore, gave notice on her apartment, bought a car sturdy enough for a long trip. She didn't know where they were going yet, but she knew they were going together. Elena called her the week before Aaron's release. You ready for that? She asked. I've been ready for 8 years. It's going to be hard, Sophie. He's not the same man you knew. Prison changes people. I know. I'm not the same woman he knew either. We've both changed, but we've been changing together just from different places. You're either the bravest person I know or the craziest. Can I be both? Elena laughed. Yeah, you can. The night before Aaron's release, Sophie couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying 8 years of letters and visits and phone calls. 8 years of choosing him every single day. Tomorrow he'd finally choose her back. Not from a prison visiting room. Not through bulletproof glass. Face to face. Free. Sophie closed her eyes and whispered into the darkness. Tomorrow. Just one more day. The sun rose on the last day of Aaron Ward's prison sentence. And Sophie Blake drove toward Coleman Federal Correctional, her heart pounding, her hands shaking every cell in her body, screaming one word finally. Sophie arrived at Coleman Federal Correctional at 6 a.m. 3 hours before Aaron's scheduled release. The parking lot was empty, except for a handful of staff vehicles and one other car, a black sedan with tinted windows that made her stomach twist. She recognized that car. Vincent Castellano stepped out older now. Grayer, but his eyes were the same cold calculation she remembered from that parking garage 8 years ago. He'd served 6 years of a 20-year sentence before his lawyers got him out on a technicality. Miss Blake, he said, walking toward her. Or should I say Miss Martin Hard to keep track of all your names? Sophie's hand moved toward her phone, but Vincent raised his hands in a placating gesture. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to deliver a message. I don't want anything from you. Nevertheless, you're going to hear it. Vincent leaned against her car, casual as a snake. Aaron Ward destroyed my family, my business, everything I built over 30 years. And now he walks free while I'm still fighting appeals, still looking over my shoulder. You brought it on yourself. Perhaps, but here's the thing about men like me, Miss Blake, we have long memories, and even longer reach. His smile didn't touch his eyes. Aaron thinks he's free today. He's not. He never will be. Neither will you. Is that a threat? It's a fact. You can run anywhere in the world, change your names 1,000 times. Someone will always be watching, waiting. And one day when you least expect it, the bill will come due. Sophie's heart hammered, but she kept her voice steady. You're violating your parole just by being here. I could call Chen right now. Go ahead. By the time he arrives, I'll be gone. And you'll spend the rest of your life wondering if every stranger on the street is one of mine. Vincent pushed off the car. Enjoy your reunion, Miss Blake. Make it count. You never know how long you have. He got back in his sedan and drove away, leaving Sophie shaking in the parking lot. She should call Chen, should report the contact, but doing so would delay Aaron's release, would drag them back into the legal system they'd barely escaped. Instead, she sat in her car and tried to calm her racing heart. At 8:45, other people started arriving. Families, loved ones, all waiting for prisoners being released that day. Sophie recognized the look on their faces, hope mixed with terror, joy tangled with uncertainty. She'd been wearing that expression for 8 years. At 8:58, the prison doors opened. Sophie's breath stopped. Aaron walked out into the morning sun, carrying a single plastic bag of belongings. He was thinner than she remembered older, with lines around his eyes that hadn't been there before. His hair was longer, starting to gray at the temples. But when he saw her standing by the car, his entire face transformed. Sophie ran. She crossed that parking lot faster than she'd ever moved in her life, and Aaron dropped his bag and caught her. She hit him hard enough to knock them both back a step, but he held on, arms wrapped around her so tight she couldn't breathe. "You're here," he whispered into her hair. "You actually waited. I told you I would." "I know, but I couldn't." His voice broke. "Sophie, I'm out. I'm actually out." She pulled back to look at him, to touch his face and convince herself he was real. "You're free. We're free." They stood there for a long moment, just holding each other while other families reunited around them. Finally, Sophie pulled back. "We need to leave. Now." Aaron caught the urgency in her tone. "What happened?" "Vincent was here. He..." She glanced around the parking lot. "I'll tell you in the car. But Aaron, we need to go." His expression went hard. "He threatened you." "Us, both of us." Sophie grabbed his hand. "Please, let's just go." They got in the car and Sophie drove, her hands white-knuckled on the wheel. Aaron listened as she recounted Vincent's visit, his jaw tightening with every word. "I should have known," he said when she finished. "Should have anticipated this." "You did anticipate it. You told me we'd never be completely safe. Knowing it and living it are different things." Aaron stared out the window. "Where are we going?" "I don't know yet. Somewhere he can't find us." "There is nowhere he can't find us. Not if he's determined enough." "Then we make ourselves not worth finding." Sophie glanced at him. "We disappear so completely that chasing us costs more than it's worth." "How?" "I have a plan, sort of." She took a breath. "Elena helped me set up new identities. Real ones this time, not just witness protection. New social security numbers, birth certificates, the works. We can go anywhere, be anyone." "That's illegal." "So is threatening federal witnesses, but Vincent doesn't seem to care about that." Sophie's voice was steel. "I spent 8 years waiting for you. I'm not spending the next 8 looking over my shoulder." Aaron was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached over and took her hand. "Where did you learn to break federal law?" "I had a good teacher. He was a criminal, but I loved him anyway." Loved past tense. Love, present tense. Always. They drove north, away from Florida, away from everything they'd known. Aaron kept looking at Sophie like he couldn't quite believe she was real. "Tell me what I missed," he said. 8 years of your life. I want to know everything." So Sophie told him about Portland and the bookstore, about the friends she'd made and lost when she left, about the book she'd written but never published, about the nights she'd cried herself to sleep and the mornings she'd woken up determined to keep going. "Your turn," she said when she was done. "Tell me about prison. The real story, not the edited version from your letters." Aaron hesitated. "It was hell. Every day was hell. The violence, the constant threat, the knowledge that one wrong move could get me killed." He paused. "But it was also necessary. I needed that time to face what I'd done, to become someone different." "Are you different?" "I don't know. I hope so." He looked at his hands. "I haven't killed anyone in 8 years. That's progress, right?" "That's more than progress. That's transformation." They stopped at a motel outside Savannah, paying cash using fake names. The room was small and shabby, but it was theirs. No guards, no glass, no supervision. Aaron stood in the doorway like he'd forgotten how to enter a normal room. "It's okay," Sophie said gently. "You're safe here." "I don't know how to do this." His voice was raw. "How to be normal. How to be with you without rules and time limits and..." Sophie crossed to him, took his face in her hands. "Then we'll figure it out together. No rush. No pressure. Just us." "I'm broken, Sophie. Prison broke things inside me that might not be fixable. Then we'll work with the pieces." "Aaron, I didn't wait 8 years for perfect. I waited for you." He kissed her, then, desperate and gentle and absolutely devastating. 8 years of longing poured into that kiss, 8 years of letters and phone calls and visits through glass. When they finally pulled apart, both were crying. "I love you," Aaron whispered. I've loved you every second of every day for 8 years. I love you too. And now we get to love each other without counting down until goodbye. They made love that night like people learning each other for the first time. Aaron's hands shook as he touched her like he couldn't quite believe he was allowed. Sophie took her time relearning his body, the new scars and the old, the ways prison had changed him, and the ways it hadn't. Afterward, they lay tangled together in the cheap motel sheets, neither willing to let go. Where do we go from here? Aaron asked. Anywhere, everywhere, nowhere. Sophie propped herself up on one elbow. I was thinking somewhere remote, mountains maybe, where we can see trouble coming from miles away. You've really thought this through. I've had 8 years to think. Aaron pulled her back down against his chest. Mountains sound good, quiet, safe. Safe is relative when Vincent Castellano knows your face. Then we change my face. Sophie pulled back to look at him. What? Plastic surgery. Nothing drastic, just enough to make me unrecognizable. Different nose, different jawline, become someone completely new. His eyes were serious. I've been Aaron Ward for too long. Time to try someone else. That's actually not a terrible idea. I have those occasionally. They left Savannah the next morning driving west. Sophie had researched doctors who worked off the books, the kind who asked no questions if you paid in cash. They found one in Austin, Texas, a retired surgeon who specialized in making people disappear. It'll take 6 weeks to heal, Dr. Martinez told them, studying Aaron's face. And it won't be cheap. We have money, Sophie said. She'd been saving for 8 years, living like a monk, every penny hoarded for this moment. And you understand the risks, infection, scarring, nerve damage. I understand, Aaron said. Do it. The surgery happened 2 days later. Sophie sat in the waiting room for 6 hours drinking terrible coffee and trying not to think about everything that could go wrong. When they finally let her see him, Aaron was unconscious, his face wrapped in bandages. He looked like a mummy, unrecognizable, which was exactly the point. The healing process was brutal. Aaron couldn't talk for the first week, couldn't eat solid food for 2. He communicated through notes and gestures, and sometimes Sophie saw frustration in his eyes that scared him. I know it hurts, she said one night, holding his hand while he recovered. But when this is done, Vincent won't recognize you if he's standing 3 feet away. Aaron wrote on his notepad, what if you don't recognize me? I'll always recognize you. Changed face, changed name, doesn't matter. I know you. How? Sophie pressed her hand over his heart. This never changes. 6 weeks later, Dr. Martinez removed the last of the bandages. Sophie held her breath. The man looking back from the mirror wasn't Aaron Ward anymore. His nose was straighter, his cheekbones higher, his jawline softer. He looked like Aaron's cousin maybe, or a brother. Familiar but not. What do you think? Dr. Martinez asked. Aaron touched his nude face carefully. I think Vincent Castellano just lost his target. They paid Dr. Martinez in cash and drove north toward Colorado. The mountains Sophie had promised remote and quiet and safe. They bought a cabin outside Durango using their new identities, Michael and Claire Foster, married couple. No criminal history, boring as beige paint. The cabin was small, isolated, perfect. This is it, Sophie said, standing on the porch and looking at the mountains. This is home. Aaron wrapped his arms around her from behind. You sure we could keep moving? Stay ahead of... No, I'm done running. We make our stand here, together. They spent the next 6 months building a life. Aaron got a job at a hardware store using his new face and new name without anyone questioning it. Sophie started writing again, this time under a pseudonym, sending stories out to magazines that didn't ask about her past. Life was quiet, normal, almost boring. Almost. 1 year after Aaron's release, Sophie was at the grocery store when she saw him. Marco Rinaldi, snake tattoo, dead eyes. He was in the produce section squeezing avocados looking like any other shopper. But Sophie's blood turned to ice because Marco being in Durango, Colorado wasn't a coincidence. She abandoned her cart and ran. At home, she found Aaron in the workshop behind the cabin. We need to leave, now. He took one look at her face and didn't ask questions. How long do we have? I don't know, Marco's here, in town, shopping like it's nothing. Aaron's expression went cold. Pack essentials. We leave in 10 minutes. Aaron, 10 minutes, Sophie, then we're ghosts. But before they could move, a voice called from the front of the cabin. Aaron Ward, Or should I say, Michael Foster, come out. We need to talk. Vincent Castellano stood in their driveway, Marco beside him, both armed. Aaron grabbed Sophie's hand. Back door, run. I'm not leaving you. Sophie, no, we do this together or not at all. They walked out the front door together. Aaron slightly ahead, positioning himself between Sophie and the guns. Vincent, Aaron said, his voice calm despite the danger. Long way to come for a conversation. You cost me 8 years of my life. Seems fair I take something from you. Vincent's gun pointed directly at Sophie. Her, for instance. You kill her, I'll hunt down everyone you've ever loved. Every family member, every friend, every person who ever meant anything to you. And I'll make it slow. Empty threats from a man who's supposedly reformed. Try me. See if 8 years in prison made me less willing to kill for her. I dare you. Vincent's finger tightened on the trigger. Sophie closed her eyes. The shot rang out, but it didn't come from Vincent's gun. Marco crumpled, a red hole blooming in his chest. Vincent spun, raising his weapon, but another shot dropped him before he could fire. Elena stepped out from behind Sophie's car, gun still raised. Took you too long enough to lead me to them, she said to Vincent's corpse. Then to Aaron and Sophie, you're welcome. Sophie's legs gave out. Aaron caught her, held her while she shook. How did you, Aaron started. I've been tracking Vincent since his release. Figured he'd come after you eventually. Been following him for 3 months. Elena lowered her gun. You two are terrible at disappearing, by the way. New faces, new names, but you bought property in your real name on the mortgage application. We used the fake IDs, which traced back to me, which I've been monitoring. The second the purchase went through, I knew where you were. Elena holstered her weapon. Lucky for you, I'm on your side. Aaron stared at Vincent's body. You just killed a civilian. You'll lose your license, maybe go to prison. Self-defense. He was threatening federal witnesses. I have it all on body cam. Elena patted her chest. Besides, the world's better off without him. Some people just need killing. Sophie was still shaking. Is it over? Is it really over? The Castellano family is finished. Vincent was the last of the old guard. Without him, they'll collapse into infighting and obscurity. Elena looked at Aaron. So yes, it's over. You're free, actually free this time. The police came, then the FBI, then hours of statements and investigations and paperwork. But Elena's body cam footage backed up her story. Clear, self-defense, righteous shoot. By the time Chen arrived from Washington, it was midnight. I should be furious with all of you, he said, looking exhausted. Illegal identities, unauthorized surveillance, vigilante justice. But mostly I'm just tired. So what happens now? Sophie asked. Now nothing. Vincent's dead, his organization is dismantled, and you two are officially ghosts. The U.S. Marshals will close your witness protection file. You get to keep your new identities, your new lives. Clean slate. Just like that. Just like that. Chen smiled slightly. Aaron Ward died in federal prison 3 years ago. Car accident during a transfer. Very tragic. And Sophie Blake entered witness protection and was never heard from again. As far as the world's concerned, you both stopped existing. What about Michael and Claire Foster? Aaron asked. Boring married couple in Colorado. No criminal history. Nothing interesting about them at all. Chen extended his hand. Congratulations. You're officially nobody. Aaron shook his hand. Best prison sentence I ever got. After everyone left, after the bodies were removed and the scene was cleared, Sophie and Aaron stood on their porch watching the sun rise over the mountains. Is it really over? Sophie asked for the 3rd time. It's really over. No more running. No more running. She leaned against him. What do we do now? Now, Aaron turned her to face him, cupped her face with both hands. Now we live. We get married, we build a life, we do all the boring, normal things I never thought I'd get to do. That sounds perfect. Sophie's Blake. Claire Foster, she corrected with a smile. Claire Foster, he amended. Will you marry me officially, this time not just for cover identities? Are you proposing without a ring? I'm proposing with 8 years of letters, 100 visits through bulletproof glass, and a promise that I'll spend the rest of my life proving you didn't waste your time waiting for me. Sophie kissed him. Yes, 1,000 times yes. They were married 3 months later by a justice of the peace in Durango, with Elena and Chen as witnesses. It was small, quiet, perfect. You may kiss your bride, the judge said. Aaron did, and Sophie tasted freedom in that kiss. Freedom from the past, from fear, from everything that had tried to destroy them. I love you, Claire Foster, Aaron whispered. I love you too, Michael Foster. They honeymooned at a cabin by a lake somewhere even more remote than their home. For 2 weeks, they did nothing but exist together, talking, laughing, making love, making plans. I want kids, Sophie said one night, lying in Aaron's arms. At least 2, maybe 3. You sure, given my history, your history made you who you are. Broken, yes. Flawed, absolutely. But also brave and selfless and willing to sacrifice everything for the people you love. She propped herself up to look at him. I want our kids to have that. The good parts of who you've become. What if I mess it up? What if the violence is genetic or learned? Or then we'll handle it together like we've handled everything else. Aaron pulled her close. You have more faith in me than I have in myself. That's my job. You provide the muscles and tactical planning. I provide the faith and emotional support. We're a team. Best team I've ever been on. They returned home to find a package waiting. No return address, just Sophie's old name, written in familiar handwriting. Ruby. Inside was a photo Ruby at her wedding, beaming in a white dress, standing next to a man Sophie had never met. On the back, one sentence, found my person too. Hope you're happy wherever you are. Sophie cried reading it, happy tears this time. You should write back, Aaron said. I can't. Witness protection rules. Those rules don't apply anymore. Chen said so. You're Claire Foster, now boring Colorado resident. Nothing stopping you from reconnecting with old friends. Sophie looked at him. Are you sure? What if someone traces it back? Let them try. Vincent's gone. His organization is scattered, and anyone who comes after us now has to go through me first. His expression was steel. I'm done hiding, Sophie. Done letting fear control our lives. If you want to write to Ruby, write to her. So Sophie did. A long letter explaining everything, apologizing for the years of silence, telling Ruby about Aaron and their new life and how happy she was. Ruby's response came 2 weeks later. I always knew you were crazy. Come visit sometime. I want to meet the man who was worth 8 years of waiting. They visited 6 months later. Ruby lived in Boston, now married to a doctor, pregnant with her first child. She took one look at Aaron and punched him in the arm. You better treat her right, she said, or I know people who know people. Aaron smiled. I'll treat her better than right. I'll treat her like the miracle she is. Ruby's expression softened. Okay, you can stay. That night over dinner, Ruby asked the question Sophie had been dreading. Was it worth it? 8 years of waiting, all that pain and uncertainty, was he worth it? Sophie looked at Aaron across the table. He was laughing at something Ruby's husband had said, more relaxed than she'd seen him in years. Happy. Every second, Sophie said. Every single second. They stayed in Boston for a week, then drove home to Colorado. Life settled into a rhythm work, writing quiet evenings on the porch. Aaron started therapy to deal with his PTSD from prison. Sophie joined a local book club and made friends who knew nothing about her past. 2 years after Aaron's release, Sophie sold her manuscript. The publisher wanted changes, wanted to make it less dark, more commercial. Sophie refused. This is the truth, she told her editor. Messy, violent, imperfect. But true. If you can't publish that, I'll find someone who will. They published it exactly as she wrote it. The first and the last became a bestseller. Not because of the crime elements or the romance, but because of the honest depiction of love in impossible circumstances, of choosing someone every day even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. Aaron read it in one sitting, then cried for an hour. You made me better than I am, he said. I wrote you exactly as you are, broken and brave and trying so hard to be good. Do you think people will know it's us? Does it matter? He thought about it. No, let them know. Let them see that even the worst people can change if someone believes in them enough. The book tour was surreal. Sophie did interviews, signed copies, answered questions about the characters. No one connected Claire Foster with Sophie Blake, the librarian who disappeared years ago. Until one signing in New York. An older woman approached the table, studied Sophie's face carefully. You look familiar. Sophie's heart stopped. I have one of those faces. No, I know you. Sophie Blake. You used to work at the library near the museum. Sophie almost lied, almost denied it. But looking at this woman's kind eyes, she decided truth was better. That was a lifetime ago, she said quietly. I'm someone different now. Because of him, the man in the book. Because of me, he just helped me see who I could become. The woman smiled. Then I'm glad you found each other. The world needs more stories about people who choose each other no matter what. After she left, Aaron appeared beside Sophie. You okay? Yeah, actually I am. 5 years after Aaron's release, they had their first child. A daughter with Aaron's dark eyes and Sophie's stubborn determination. They named her Hope. On the nose, don't you think? Elena said when she visited to meet the baby. We're not subtle people, Aaron replied, cradling his daughter like she was made of glass. Watching him with Hope, Sophie felt something settle in her chest. Peace, maybe. Or completion. This was what they'd fought for, what they'd waited for. Not just survival, but life. Real messy, beautiful life. 7 years after his release, Aaron woke Sophie in the middle of the night. I just realized something, he said. What? I've been free longer than I was in prison. 7 years out, 8 years in. The math just flipped. Sophie pulled him close. How does it feel? Like I can finally breathe. Like the prison years are becoming the past instead of the present. Good. That's exactly how it should feel. He kissed her forehead. Thank you. For what? For waiting, for believing, for seeing something worth saving when everyone else just saw a killer. I didn't save you, Aaron. You saved yourself. I just stood by and cheered. You did more than that. You gave me a reason to be better. And then you waited while I figured it out how. They lay in the darkness holding each other, listening to Hope breathing in the next room. Do you ever regret it? Aaron asked. Giving up your old life, spending all those years waiting? Not for a second. Do you regret taking the deals instead of going to prison? Not if it meant keeping you safe. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Even knowing how hard it would be. Especially knowing that the hard things are the ones worth doing. 10 years after Aaron Ward walked out of Coleman Federal Correctional, Michael and Claire Foster stood on their porch watching the sunset. Hope was playing in the yard chasing butterflies. Their son James was asleep in Claire's arms. You ever think about the museum, Claire asked, where we met? Every day. That Caravaggio with the light coming from outside the frame. The calling of St. Matthew. The moment everything changes. Michael wrapped his arm around her. That's what you were for me. The light I didn't know I was looking for. You were that for me too. You saw me when I was invisible. You were never invisible. You just hadn't found anyone worth being visible for. They stood there as the sun painted the mountains gold and red and purple. 10 years of letters and visits and phone calls. 10 years of choosing each other every single day. Hope ran up to them, breathless and laughing. Daddy, look what I found. She held out her hand, showing them a stone shaped like a heart. Beautiful, Michael said, kneeling down to her level. Just like you. Can we keep it forever? Forever and always. Hope ran off again, and Claire looked at Michael. You're good at this, being normal. I'm good at this because you taught me how. Showed me that love isn't violence or control or possession. It's showing up. It's choosing someone every day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. He stood, pulled her close, baby James between them. I love you, Claire Foster. You were my first real touch, and you'll be my last. Thank you for waiting. I love you too, Michael Foster. Thank you for being worth the wait. They stood there as darkness fell, and stars emerged, a family built from ashes and second chances. The past was still there. It would always be there, but it no longer defined them. They were more than their mistakes, more than their pain. They were two people who'd chosen love over fear, hope over despair, together over alone. And that was enough, more than enough. It was everything.